Hey, boys and girls, this is Mr. Garcia coming at you again from Maryhill Elementary. It's so good to visit with you again, and we're here for another week working on rhythms. Okay, so we're gonna take another week off from pitches and singing do re mi fa and do me. I'm sorry, do re mi so la and all of that good stuff. Not that it's not important, but I do want to get in vital time on rhythms and just rhythm making in general. We got some time last week with the lesson as I was walking. I'm not going to take the time to review on that lesson like I usually do at the beginning of this lesson. And instead, I'm just going to jump right into this lesson because I want you to have enough time to experiment and have fun with this website. So I'm gonna put this link in the description of the assignment, but it's going to be musiclab.experiments.com/experiments. But don't worry, you won't have to type any of that. If you just type this in your browser, Chrome Music Lab, you'll be able to find it there, or you could just click the link in the assignment. But when you get to this web page, okay, you're going to go, and I know we've done different activities on other things, but today we're going to this one called rhythm. Okay, so click this arrow, and when you get here, there's going to be many scenes. Okay, many types of rhythms. This is like a 3/4 pattern. This is a 4/4 pattern. This is a 5/4 pattern, which is really odd that they put this in there because that's a very odd time meter for children. And this one's in 6, which is much more common. But the most common, especially in American music, is going to be this one, the 4/4 pattern. Okay, so go to this one. So again, I'm going to go back to the main page. When you go to the rhythm and you click this arrow, the first one you'll see is this one with the monkeys and the timpani and the triangle. Don't play this one. Just skip it and go to the next one, okay? Because today we're talking about 4/4 time signature and making rhythms in 4/4 time signature, okay? Particularly that of the drum set, okay? Now, you might remember last year before we took our super long hiatus from school. Um, in February, we were working on drum set, right? And this is kind of what we're doing with this lesson. Okay, this is kind of going to emulate the drum set, even though we see a snare and a hi hat, but we don't really see a kick. Well, this drum right here, it doesn't really look like the kick drum because of the way it's positioned. It looks more like a floor tom. But the way they're using it and the way they're playing it and the way it sounds, it's pretty much the kick drum, which is these dots right here at the bottom. Okay, so I'm gonna unclick all the sounds. Yeah, I'm gonna unclick all the sounds and explain this to you. Okay, so big monster over here, he's gonna play the snare drum, which is right here, and he's gonna play the hi hats, which are right here. Okay, and the little monster right here, he's gonna play. I'll call it for today the kick drum, even though it's not really positioned like a kick drum. It functions as a kick drum, so I'm gonna call it the kick drum. So the little monster is playing the kick drum. Excuse me while I silence my device. Okay, all silenced up. Now let me show you what these dots down here mean. Okay, first off, let me show you this line. You see this line going right here where my cursor is? That line is going to represent the first beat, okay, out of 4. This is the second beat right here. This is the third beat right here. And this is the fourth beat right here, okay? Now, this beat right here, we learned last week, is the upbeat, okay? If you remember from as I was walking by the lake, I saw a little rattlesnake. He was eating jelly cake. It made his little belly ache, right? We talked about the downbeat and there was the down arrows. that's kind of like these, okay? These lines right here. And there's 4 downbeats. But next to it, there's a row of dots without lines, and that's going to represent our our upbeats. Okay, so this row without line, this row without line, this row without a line, and this row without a line will represent the upbeat. Okay, so downbeats and then the upbeats right here. Okay, all right. So if I put a sound right here, you saw what happened. That little monster hit that drum. That's what's going to happen. Okay, I'm going to take that off for now. If you put a sound right here at this dot, this middle dot, you saw what the monster did. He played the snare drum. Okay, I'm going to take that back off. And if you put a sound right here at this dot, watch. You saw what the big monster did. He played the hi-hat. Okay, now you could put those sounds at any of the top dots. See, if you put a sound at all of these, on all the down and upbeats, down, upbeat, downbeat, upbeat, downbeat, upbeat, and then play it, then it'll sound like this. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah, I'm gonna take those off now. So that's the row of hi-hats, okay? Now, if I put that sound, if I click on this middle dot and I put them on all the down and up beats, okay, then it'll sound like this. Okay, and that'll just repeat on forever. Okay, but it's 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, with the ta, the t t t t t t t t, right? Okay, so I'm gonna take those off, and then same thing. If I put sounds on all the bottom row, it's gonna be that kick drum right there that's making that sound, and it'll make a similar sound. Okay. Now, what I see a lot of young, inexperienced musicians do is this. They want to color in every single spot available and see what it sounds like. Well, I'll tell you, it's fun to do it like once for a little while, but then, it gets pretty dull to watch. And it's not creative. It's not fun. It doesn't really sound like music, right? Like a drum pattern, like a real drum set, right? Which this is supposed to emulate, right? So what I'm going to do is challenge you to play first or create first the drum pattern that we used to play when we were here at school. I don't know if you remember, but about 6 months ago when we were actually on this drum set, or 7 months ago, we would do kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, snare. We would do that drum pattern, right? So following that same drum pattern, here's the kick, right? We put the kick here. And on the second beat, there's the snare drum. And then we go back to the what? The kick, right? And then we go back to the snare drum. And that creates the backbeat pattern, the American, famous American backbeat pattern that makes American music special, okay? So let me play that for you. That should sound very familiar to you, because that's basically what you were playing before, right? When you were on the drum set, kick, snare, kick, snare. And then some people, depending on their gross motor skills and their age level, age group, some people advanced on to playing the ride cymbal or the hi-hat. And I said to play it on every beat. So when you play the kick, you're going to want to put a hi-hat sound with it, okay? And then when you play the snare, you also play the hi-hat sound. And then when you go back to the kick, you also put a hi-hat sound. And then when you go back to the snare on the fourth beat, you also put a hi-hat sound. Okay, now let's see what that sounds like. Now, doesn't that sound way better than, coloring in every single dot? Of course, now it sounds like an American backbeat, drum pattern that you would hear on any pop song, right? From the last God, from the last 70 years since like the 1950s. Okay, all right. Um, Now most drummers will double up on this row, meaning they'll play the hi-hat, yes, on the downbeat right here on these downbeats, but they'll also play them on the upbeats. So it'll be, instead of ta 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 for the hi-hat sound right here, they'll also play it on the t t t t t t t t. They'll create that pattern. And let's see how common that sounds. This is a very common American sound. Okay, so that sounds like a fairly typical pop drum pattern, a American backbeat pattern, right? Okay, well, drummers will also get fancy with their leg work. They'll add sounds, like maybe they'll put a kick sound right here, and then it'll sound a little livelier. Watch, and then maybe another one right here. Okay, and maybe sometimes they'll remove this one off the beat and put it on the upbeat over here, the kick sound. And now notice one thing I have not moved. I have not moved this snare sound and this snare sound. Okay, and that's because the backbeat kind of relies on the snare sound being on beat 2 and beat 4 all the time. You can get fancy with the hi-hats, okay, and you can get a little fancy with the kick uh, part most of the time, but the snare being on beats 2 and 4 and not much else is pretty it's a staple sound in American backbeat. Okay, the American backbeat drum pattern. Okay, so what I want you to do today is, from scratch, take off all of the sounds that you had there, and I want you to first put in the kick drum on beat 1, and then the snare on beat 2, and then kick drum on beat 1, and then snare on beat 2, and then go add in all your hi-hats, okay? Your hi-hat sounds all across, and first play that and realize how common of a sound that is, okay? That's the American backbeat, okay? But then go in and change it up and see how interesting you can make it, okay? All right. And once you're done doing that, that's it for for this lesson. Go back into the assignment, and I'm going to create like an exit ticket um, for this particular assignment, or like a question you have to answer, or something you learned for today, just so I know that you went through the video and you did the lesson. Is it a short assignment this week? Yeah, very short. Okay, but it doesn't have to be as short as this video. You can extend this activity as long as you want. Okay. Now, once you're done with this, if you do want to go to the 3 pattern here, because there's 1, 2, 3 beats, and then the 5 pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? If you want to go in, oh God, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you want to mess around with those and see what kind of cool sounds you can come up with, that's fine with me. But just make sure that first you do this. Okay, this is the important part. What I'm trying to do is getting you to be creative with rhythms on a virtual instrument, being that not everybody has a drum set at their house like I do, or in my classroom like you were used to playing here at school before. Okay, and honestly, the kids that are in attendance this week, or they won't be playing on the drum set either, because it's my classroom and I'm on stage, and plus we can't share instruments right now, so they'll be on this as well on the computer, being creative and showing their work. Okay. But anyways, that's all I had for you today. I wanted to make this something a little different, fun, creative, and yeah. If you would like, you can always take like a short 10-second video or something, or maybe some audio of your little drum beat that you make, and you can submit it. Okay, but I know many people have weak internet connections, and sometimes uploading a video just is not possible. So that's okay. That's why I'm not making that part of the submission process. Okay, but I please do go back to the assignment and record um, your answer with the. I'll just have like one question about today. Okay. All right, guys. Well, it was good meeting with y'all again, and I hope you enjoyed this lesson and have fun and you're creative and using that creative right brain, at home and all that good stuff. All right. I'll see y'all later. Bye bye.